Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is Narayan Rao Kovur. In this video, we are going to explain determinants of demand. What are the determinants of demand? So the factors which influence quantity demand of a commodity, those are called determinants of demand. The factors which influence the demand for a commodity, those are called determinants of demand. There are several factors which influence the demand for a commodity. Point number 1. Price of the same commodity. Price of the same commodity. Ceteris paribus. Ceteris paribus means other things remains constant. Other things remains unchanged. Other things being equal. మిగతా అంశాలన్నీ స్థిరంగా ఉండాలి. So here, price of the commodity, same commodity. Goods whose price is low. Goods whose price is low, demand will be high. When price is less, demand is more. And vice versa. That means goods whose price is high, demand will be low. There is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Just observe. This is the price. This is the quantity demanded. So price is less, demand is more. Price is more, demand is less. So there is an inverse relationship between price of the commodity and quantity demand of the same commodity. So price of the commodity, one factor. Second one, prices of related goods. Related goods are two types. One is substitutes, another one is complementaries. First, substitutes. Substitutes are those goods which are used one for another to satisfy the same want. For example, coffee and tea are substitutes. You see, price of coffee, demand for tea. Coffee and tea are substitutes. Price of coffee increases. Price of coffee increases. The demand for tea also increases and vice versa. There is a positive or direct relation in the case of substitutes. Next, complementaries. Complementaries are those which are consumed simultaneously, which are consumed jointly. Those are called complementaries. For example, car and petrol is a complementary. Car and petrol. So price of car, demand for petrol. Price of car increases, so demand for car decreases. Number of cars reduced. Automatically demand for petrol also so decreases. So price of car increases, demand for petrol decreases. If the price of the car decreases, demand for petrol increases. There is an inverse or negative relation in the case of complementaries. Prices of related goods is the second factor. Third one is disposable income of the consumer. Disposable income of the consumer. Disposable income is equal to personal income minus personal taxes. Personal income minus personal taxes, or disposable personal income is equal to consumption plus savings. That is called disposable. If disposable income is high, purchasing power is more, demand is also high, and vice versa. That means if the disposable income is less, demand is also less. There is a positive relation in the case of disposable income and demand. Here we are going to explain goods are two types. One is superior goods, another one is inferior goods. Superior goods and inferior goods. In the case of superior goods, income increases, demand also increases. In the case of inferior goods, If income increases, the demand for inferior goods decreases. Positive or direct relationship in the case of superior goods, or negative or inverse relationship in the case of inferior goods. Next. Fourth one is taste and preferences of consumers. Taste and preferences of consumers. If the taste and preference of the consumer is favorable or fashionable or modern or latest goods, so demand will be high demand and vice versa. Demand is more and vice versa. That means if unfavorable, taste and preference of the consumer is unfavorable, and old fashioned goods and obsolete goods, not modern, so not latest goods. That means obsolete goods. Demand is less, right? So favorable, taste and preference of the consumer is favorable, demand is more, unfavorable, demand is less. Next, another factor, consumers' expectations about the future. Consumers' expectations about future. Expected rise in price, rise in income, shortage of supply. In these cases, present demand increases and vice versa. Expecting rise in price, rise in income, shortage of supply, present demand increases and vice versa. That means, so expecting fall in price, fall in income, and abundance of supply, present demand decreases. Next, another one is level of consumer confidence and business confidence. Level of consumer confidence and business confidence. Consumers are confident about future job security and income. Consumers are confident about future job security and income. Present demand increases and vice versa. Vice versa means opposite. Whereas producers are confident about future economic situation. There is a prosperity, there is a boom, there is a peak. Present demand increases and vice versa. That is also one factor. Next, seventh one. Other factors. There are so many other factors which will influence demand for a commodity. One is level of national income. What is national income? National income is the total market value of all the final goods and services produced in a country during a given period of time. This is called national income. So if national income increases, demand also increases. If the national income decreases, demand also decreases. Next, distribution of national income. Distribution of national income distributed evenly, unevenly. ఈక్వల్గా డిస్ట్రిబ్యూట్ చేయొచ్చు, అన్ఈక్వల్గా డిస్ట్రిబ్యూట్ చేయొచ్చు. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, distribution of national income is equal. Propensity to consume is more, demand is more. So, distribution of national income is unequal. Propensity to consume is less, demand is less. Next, population, size of the population. If the population is less, demand also less. If the population is more, demand also more. Next, migration of population. If the people migrated from rural area to urban area, demand for goods in rural area decreases, demand for goods in urban area increases, and vice versa. Next, age distribution of population. Age distribution of population. So for example, so that is 0 to 14. Next, greater than 64. This is called dependent population. 0 to 4, greater than 64. This is called dependent population. Whereas 15 to 63, this is called working population. So here, age distribution of population. If an area consisting of all the children, ఒక ఏరియాలో మొత్తం చిల్డ్రనే ఉన్నారని అనుకున్నాం, there is a great demand for children articles. అలానే if an area consisting of old age people, ఒక ఏరియాలో మొత్తం ఓల్డ్ ఏజ్ పీపుల్ ఉన్నారని అనుకున్నాం. డిమాండ్ ఫర్ స్పెక్టికల్స్, డిమాండ్ ఫర్ వాకింగ్ స్టిక్స్, డిమాండ్ ఫర్ ఓల్డ్ ఏజ్ హోమ్స్, demand for medicines, etc. That is called age distribution of population. Next, consumer credit facility. The consumer credit facilities are favorable, so demand increases. Unfavorable, demand decreases. Next, interest rate or rate of interest. So if the rate of interest is less, so we get more loans. If the rate of interest is less, we get more loans. Then demand will be increases. Demand will be high. The rate of interest is less, demand is more, and vice versa. That means the rate of interest is more, demand is less. Next, government policies, restrictions, regulations. So taxes, restrictions, regulations, bans. Taxes, restrictions, regulations, bans. These are all government policies. So when all these government policies, demand is less, or when there is a government will provide subsidy or funding programs, so demand is more. So government policies, restrictions and regulations, taxes, restrictions, regulations, total bans, demand decrease, otherwise demand increases. So these are the factors which influence demand for a commodity. So demand also depends upon some other factors. Some other factors are, so wealth. If wealth is more, wealth means stock of assets. Lands, buildings, shares in companies, money, etc. If wealth is more, demand is more. If wealth is less, demand is less. Next, education. If professional education or higher education, demand is more. Otherwise, demand is less. Next, marital status. If both are employees, their income is more, demand also more. Otherwise, less. Next, habits of consumer. So habits of consumer. So then habitual consumer. So demand increases. Next, social customs and conventions. So as a result of social customs and conventions, so demand also increases, and otherwise demand decreases. Next, another one is advertisement. Advertisement is also an important factor to influence demand for a commodity. సో అడ్వర్టైజ్మెంట్ చూసుకొని మిగతా వాళ్ళని బట్టి మనం కూడా పర్చేజ్ చేస్తాం, డిమాండ్ ఇంక్రీజ్ అవుతుంది. సో దీస్ ఆర్ ద ఫ్యాక్టర్స్ విచ్ ఇన్ఫ్లుయెన్స్ డిమాండ్ ఫర్ ఏ కమోడిటీ. దోస్ ఆర్ కాల్డ్ డిటర్మినెంట్స్ ఆఫ్ డిమాండ్. థ్యాంక్ యూ ఫర్ వాచింగ్. లైక్, షేర్, సబ్స్క్రైబ్ అండ్ కామెంట్.